Hey guys, getting a cup of coffee real quick. It's been a couple weeks since I've done one of these live chats. Alrighty, so between traveling up to see my parents and then Jennifer coming to visit last week, it's been, I think, 3 weeks since my last live chat. I'm not sure exactly. But I wanted to make sure I got in here and did one this week because next week it looks like there's not going to be a live chat either because I'm going to be traveling. I had a little trip come up unexpectedly and I couldn't say no to it. It's something I'm really excited about. I'm not going to tell you about it yet though. But that means I will be on the road next weekend again. So no live chat next week. And then I think there should be one the week after that. Maybe. When is the Homesteaders of America conference? Let me look at the calendar. Yes, there will be one on the 6th of October because I will be here. Okay. So no live chat next week, but there will be one the week after and then not one the week after that. But then once we get into like mid-October, I don't think we have anything else going on. The travel should be done. So the live chat should be back to every week. Hello, Cindy. Welcome. Oh, goodness. So we had a really busy day today. Went to our friends that moved here from Alaska. And, excuse me, my phone is going off. Went over there to help them out with a big project they have going on. They're doing some remodeling. And unfortunately, it's because they had a water leak that they found in their house that had been there a while. And so remodeling taking place, they needed some big stuff moved. So we went over to help them out today and had a nice time visiting with them. I hate that they just bought this house and immediately had to start doing major projects. That's just gut-wrenching, you know, to buy this house that you think is going to be your dream home and then finding trouble one after another. So hopefully when they get done with this big project, that will be it and they can enjoy living in Alabama. Hello, Peggy. Yes, I did. It was a short visit, but it was great having her come, and I think she enjoyed being able to hang out here on the farm and just kind of relax and see all the animals and all of that. Did a little bit of antiquing, you know, didn't really buy anything. I didn't buy anything. She did buy a book, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoy antiquing even if I don't spend a penny. You know, I could go shopping all day long in antique stores, not spend a penny, but just absolutely have the time of my life. It's like walking down memory lane when I go through antique stores, you know, seeing things that bring back memories, like something my grandmother had or something my mom might have had when she was a kid, you know. Those are always fun. Oh, there she is. Yes, it was a long overdue trip. Yep, and wonderful pumpkin bread. I've actually got to do a bit of baking this week. my deadline is coming up for the magazine that I write for. I write for a local publication, and I am the food and drink person. And so I do a feature on a local restaurant, and then I write recipe articles as well as another type of feature that is kind of like a homestead sort of thing. They give me a lot of leeway to write about whatever I want with that. But I have to finish up my recipe posts, articles for the magazine, which means I need to do the baking of the recipes so that I can photograph them to submit for the magazine. And I have a couple of recipes that I think would be perfect, because this will be the like November, December issue of the magazine, which means Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays. So I'm thinking holiday desserts for that particular issue, which means I'll be making some desserts this week. So I will probably be sending them to work with Mr. Smith because I don't need them in the house, because if they're in the house, I'm going to eat them. You know what I mean? And I don't need it. So we had a great time up there in Wisconsin, seeing my parents. It's always a nice time getting to see them. I'm really looking forward to them moving, though. I think it's just a matter of time. I've hinted around quite a bit that I want them to move down here, and I think it's kind of gotten to the point now where it isn't a maybe, it's a when, because I think it's going to happen. Because when I was up there, I noticed some tile samples sitting in one of the rooms, and I asked my mom about it, and I'm like, what are those tile samples for? And she said, well, we have to redo the floor in this area over here before we sell the house. So at first it was a matter of convincing my mom, because my dad was super ready to move down here. But now it sounds like she's maybe getting on board with the idea. Cool drawing of Merlin? What drawing, Jen? Oh, that's not Merlin. That is my other grandfather. Jennifer commented that I should tell you about the drawing of my grandfather, but she thought it was my maternal grandfather. It was actually my paternal grandfather. So during the World War II era, well, let me back up. While I was up there visiting my parents, one of the missions was to gather up a lot of the family photos, old family photos, so that I can begin digitizing them, because there's just these boxes and boxes and boxes of photos my parents had, ones that they inherited from other people. And so there's a lot of duplicates and things like that, but there's a lot of really old photos, and it would be nice if the rest of the family could have access to those. And so we went through a lot of these photos, and I brought back most of the photos from my mom's side of the family. My dad kind of hung on to his side of the family's photos, simply because he's got a relative that he would really like to go through these to help him identify some of the people in these photos. So once they have the chance to do that, then maybe I can get those down here as well. But in going through the boxes and the albums and all of that, I came across a drawing of my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, and it was of him as a sailor. And apparently there was they do those USO camp tours. Well, this artist, which from what I could determine, I guess he was kind of a big artist at the time, but he mostly did paintings. However, he traveled around with the USO and he did these camp tours, and he actually did drawings of the sailors. And so there's this drawing of my grandfather by this artist when they did one of these USO camp tours. And it's pretty neat because I mean, you can tell it's him, but it has sort of this, not quite a caricature look, but definitely I don't know, it's hard to describe. But it was a really cool photo, and so it was really neat to see that. Hello, Off Kilter Homestead, welcome. And so, yeah, that's the image, the drawing that she was talking about. At some point, I need to sit down and actually share a video about some of these really cool old photos that I was able to bring down. There's some pretty neat ones. Oh, thank you, Peggy. I actually just got that yesterday at a festival here in Hartselle. I shared about this in tomorrow's video, which will be going up in the morning, of course. Every year there is a festival here in Hartselle. It's called Depot Days, and they shut down Main Street and all of that, and so that's where I picked it up. It has the little lava rocks so that you can put essential oils on them, and all that stuff too. Hello, Heritage Ways, welcome. So one of the photos that I got a copy of when I was up there at my parents'. Now, a few months ago, I talked about a bell that is out in the duck garden and how this old bell actually belonged to my great-grandfather, and that bell was on the farm, and how it was so cool that this bell started off on a farm, went to my grandparents, and now here it is, and it's kind of returned to the farm. Well, I've got photos. Well, all of my great-grandparents were basically farmers. And I have a print of an aerial shot of not only my paternal great-grandparents on that side of the family, their farm. I have one of the maternal side as well. But the Ingalls farm, oh no, let me rethink that. No, it was both farms on my mom's side. So it was her mother's side and her father's. That's who it was. Her father's family farm, the picture is perfectly clear. And so I had a copy of this printed out, a great big 20 by 30, and I'm going to have it framed and I'm going to hang it on the wall because I just love it. It's this black and white photo, and it's the coolest thing. Yes, I love family history, and I love the stories behind, where we came from and what was life like then, and all of that. I've always had a passion for that. And so just having an aerial photo of my great-grandparents' farm it was a treasure. When I saw that, I couldn't believe it. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah, we have this time of year, there are a lot of those little festivals. It's like there are ones every weekend, just about, and multiples at times within reasonable driving distance. Yes, the bell is actually in really good shape, and the post that I have that the bell is sitting on is actually original as well. I mean, they dug up the post and brought the post. So that was very exciting. And I do have to oil it periodically to keep it in good shape and keep it protected from the weather. It's actually due to get oiled again. But we can absolutely ring that bell, and boy, is it loud. Now, on my mom's side of the family, because that bell came from my dad's side, on my mom's side of the family, there's another bell, and I'm hoping down the road that I can maybe get that one to come here to the farm as well. Hello, Life of Laura. Yeah, Mr. Smith likes to go out and just randomly ring that bell sometimes, but we've got to be careful and look inside it before he does that, because we've been getting a lot of wasp nests around here, and he rang it one time and there were some wasps inside there, so he had to ring it and run. So, oh yeah, just had to restore a bell. They are just such treasures. I love things that are cast iron anyways, and so having something like that has come down through the family is just, I think it's awesome. And it being cast iron, just about everything that's cast iron can be restored as long as it's not too far gone. But I mean, the stuff is made to last, that's for sure. Hello, Michael Allen. Ring it and run. Yes, Heritage Ways. He had to ring it and run because, yeah, those wasps were not happy. Matter of fact, on the side of our carport, on one of the posts, there is a small bell that the original owners of this house had installed. It's just a little thing about yay big. And Jack walked over one day and rang it. And when he did, he didn't realize it, but there was a yellow jacket nest inside of that bell. And yeah, we had to take care of that quick. E-tanks. My next video tomorrow is just generally a vlog. It's not really a topical one. It's just kind of a, daily vlog. I do have one that I'm planning on doing. I have a cooking video that I'm hoping to get filmed this week, a tutorial that would be timely for fall. Trying to think what else I have going on. Yeah. Swiss cheese on apple slices. I don't. That sounds like something I might have had, like with crackers or something like that. I know growing up in the Midwest, a lot of times you see sharp cheddar with apple. As a matter of fact, I remember when I was really little, there was a diner that we would go to, and they always served a slice of cheese on top of apple pie. I think that might be a Midwestern thing. I'm not sure. Yeah, Willie Jr. getting knocked down a few notches. He's been steering clear of me since then, at least for the time being. But I have to keep my eye on him, that's for sure. We were in an antique store recently, and Mr. Patient spotted a metal pan fashioned from one piece of metal, handle and all. Oh, that's cool. I've actually seen a couple sort of like that recently, and I thought about whether I should get them or not, but oh gosh. Limited space, Aged Swiss. Yeah, I love Swiss cheese, and aged Swiss is one of my favorites. Cindy would rather have whipped cream on her pie. Oh, it looked like cast iron, but it wasn't. Okay. What is that? Was it steel? Like a steel one? I've seen some, and I can't think what it's called. It's a certain type of steel. Can't remember. The type of cheeses I buy varies. I know there's Jarlsberg cheese that I really enjoy, and that's a Swiss. I bought some, what is that brand? There's a brand of Irish cheese that I get pretty often. And then we get a lot of cheeses, like sliced cheeses. We get it from the Mennonite store that's in our area. They have a really good deli with all different types of meats and cheeses. Cast aluminum. I love my set, and I don't care what people. Yeah. Oh yeah, Kerrygold. Um, Cast aluminum. Yeah, I've seen cast. There's another type of metal pans though that are cast metal, but I think they're kind of a stain. They're not stainless steel, but they're a type of steel. And I just can't remember what they were called. Yeah, cheddar on apple pie is what my Ohio grandpa ate. I really think that that's a Midwestern thing. Maybe a German thing. I'm not sure. I think it's maybe just a Midwestern kind of thing. I remember having that all the time when I was a kid growing up. Matter of fact, I think we might have even had that in school at times. Now that I think about it. Yeah, the stinkier the better when it comes to Swiss cheese. Yep. Oh, your family's German too. Yeah. Yeah, my family heritage is mostly German. Seven of my eight great grandparents are all German. Hi, Shati. Oh, okay. So not in Indiana. Very interesting. Yeah, I know in northern. Oh, noodles. I'm Italian. We put cheese on pizza. I totally get that. Yeah, northern Illinois, because I grew up right on the state line of Wisconsin and Illinois. And so like the town I grew up in was mostly in Wisconsin, but kind of traversed the line into partly Illinois. And there's an area over there kind of northwest of Chicago that was actually called the German Valley because there were so many German immigrants who settled there. And that's where a lot of my, on my mom's side of the family at least, that's where a lot of my ancestors settled in the United States when they immigrated over. I'm from Michigan and we put cheese on everything. I am with you, Ty. Yep. Oh, Brenda says cheese and apple pie is a Southern thing too. I have not heard of that. I've lived in the South almost my entire adult life, with the exception of when we were stationed in Germany and when we were stationed in Alaska, of course. But from the time I was 18, with those exceptions, we've lived in the South. And I have never heard of cheese on apple pie in the South. That would be interesting. Hello, Salon Girl Gardens. Welcome. Yeah, I enjoyed living in Wisconsin. I mean, that's where I grew up. That was my entire childhood for the most part. I was having a conversation with one of my subscribers slash friends, a lady that I met at the Great Appalachian Homesteaders Conference back in May, and she lives up there in northern Illinois. She actually grew up in the same town my paternal grandparents lived in. And we were talking about the differences between homesteading down here versus homesteading up there. And, we compared how, well, down here we have such a long growing season because, the summer lasts so long down here. But up there in the Midwest, they've got that rich black soil that every gardener covets. You know what I mean? We don't have that beautiful soil down here. We have to really work to get it, because it's all clay and all that good stuff down here. Nope, nope, nope. It's not a southern thing, says Mr. Patient. Well, Brenda, it could be maybe you know some people with German background. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there are German people who settled in the South as well. My mom made homemade fried apple pie, apple and peach pie, and she put a slice of cheese on it, and it melted. I've lived in Alabama all my life. Cheese on a fried apple pie. See? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things that traverses the geographical boundaries. Oh, sand. Yeah, well, you're down there in Florida. That's not surprising. We had a lot of that when we lived in North Carolina, because the area that we lived in around Fort Bragg is called the Sand Hills, and it's not too hard to figure out how it gets its name. It was really difficult gardening there as well. Oh, yeah, that's awful. Noodles. That wouldn't be fun. Oh, yeah, New Braunfels. New Braunfels, Texas. That's a big German community as well, or German heritage down there. We were stationed at Fort Hood and went down to New Braunfels at one point, and I remember there being German ancestry down there as well. So that makes sense. So now I'm thinking maybe it is that the cheddar on apple pies is a German thing. Bi-regional. Mama from Tennessee, dad from Ohio, and I think fruit pies are generally northern and cream pies are more southern. I I could see that. I mean, yeah, we growing up, the only pie that we had that wasn't like a fruit pie was like your Thanksgiving pumpkin pie. Now, I have to take issue with the cobbler thing, though, because I did have cobbler growing up in the Midwest. So I think maybe it's a little more common in the South, but it's definitely not a strictly South thing. Hello, Eva. Never met a pie she didn't like. I do like pies. There are some that I'm not a fan of. Um, Not a fan of cherry pies, but I like eating fresh cherries, but I don't like cherry flavored things, and I don't like cherries in things, with very few exceptions. And I don't know, every cherry pie I ever had just tasted like syrup or something. I don't know. I didn't care for those. I've never had a mincemeat pie. I couldn't tell you. I can't give an opinion either way with that. But then, after I got married and Mr. Smith and I started combining like family traditions for meals and things like that, like Thanksgiving and all of that, I did start making more of the creamy, like custard pudding types of pies. I'm not sure how you would categorize it, like chocolate pudding pie or butterscotch pie. And growing up, we never had pies like that. We had the pumpkin pie. Never had pecan pie growing up either. I think that's definitely not strictly, but more so. Okay, yeah, cream pies. Oh, yeah. The Mennonite store that we go to periodically actually has a whole case of fried pies to choose from, all different sorts. And I apologize in advance because I think the dogs are about to start going crazy because I think Mr. Smith just got home from the store. So if you hear them go nuts, that's why. Hair pies? I don't know what that would be. Sugar and vinegar pie. I have heard of that. Oh, Safe Travels, Heritage Ways. Oh, Salongo Gardens. I think I'll pass on that one. Actually, when the girl who used to do my hair, when she lived up here, I would get the hair from her trash bin, her little, she had one of these trash bins that was a vacuum on the bottom. So when she'd sweep the hair up to it, it would just suck it right up in there. It was amazing. I'm like, every house needs to have one of these so you don't have to have a dustpan for anything. But anyways, I would have her put all the hair in a bag for me, and I would put it around my fruit trees and everything to keep the um, deer and animals away from the trees. About that water filter, what are you wanting to know, Di? Oh, Salongo Gardens. Yeah, I think it did because I didn't have any. We've got deer all over the place here, and for the most part, they left the trees alone. Now, I do think you have to put it out there on a regular basis because it loses the scent. But for the most part, we really had no issues with the deer. Oh, how long does it take to filter a full tank? Um, I've never timed it. I want to say maybe 30 minutes for the, like, if I'm starting with it completely empty and fill up the top tank and let it filter down through, I want to say it's about 30 minutes. Now you can purchase additional filters because there's little spaces where you can put more than one, and so it would filter quicker because it would have more filters to go through. But I just use one, just because I don't know. I just don't want to spend the extra money on additional ones. Now, if you have additional ones, it's going to last longer because the amount of water going through those filters would then be divided among the filters. And so each filter is considered good for, I think, I'm not positive, but I think it was like 5,000 gallons. And so I guess it would last longer that way. I just use one. And like I said, I think it takes a rough guess about 30 minutes. No German in my family, according to my DNA, but my husband's family came from Luxembourg, Germany in 1693. Oh, in Coleman. I've noticed when I've gone to Coleman, Coleman is a town just south of me, about 15, 20 minutes away. I've noticed there is a very large German influence there. They even have an Oktoberfest festival, and they have like these giant statues, little Frau and a little boy in their lederhosen and all this stuff. It's pretty neat. You can definitely see the influence too when you go through the antique stores in Coleman because you see a lot of things with German influence in that area. It's pretty neat. Yeah, well, speaking of the water filter, the tank that I have, it's about I think it was a 2.25 gallon tank. So if you fill that in the morning, you've got 2.5 gallon or 2.25 gallons to last you the day. And of course, you can add water as you use it. So you can really have a continual source of fresh, clean, filtered water in your canister. How is your fall garden coming along? It is in the works. I actually have a bunch of seedlings I need to go out there and plant, I think, first thing in the morning. I have some seeds that I had started. They're still in my starter tray. I hadn't gotten a chance to get them out there. So I need to get them out there and get them planted. So I've got some zinnias and some like Brussels sprouts and things like that started. A certain little feline got in there and chewed up some of them as a snack, so I don't have as many as I originally started. But I do have some I need to get out there. I was going to plant my root vegetables this week, my carrots and all that, but it is so hot. We're still in the 90s. We're still like 98 degrees this week. So I'm going to wait a week or two to give it the temperature time to cool down so that, you know, it's not so hot when I start those. Because those seeds, if they dry out, that's it. You're not going to get much out of them. So you really need to be able to keep them moist, and with it being that hot, that's difficult. So I'm going to wait a couple weeks for the root vegetables, and then I'll get those planted. Hello, Carolyn. Welcome from Virginia. Thank you so much. Cobblers like blackberry, blueberry, apple, or peach were a common food at any family get-together or church dinner. Now, when I was growing up in Wisconsin, we didn't really eat blackberry things very often, but there was a lot of raspberry and a lot of black raspberry. I love black raspberries. I would love to get a good black raspberry patch going here on our farm. I would love that. I think that's one of my favorite berries. Have you ever encountered Schmeckfest sausage? No, I haven't. I don't think I've heard of that. What is it? Like, is it a breakfast type of sausage? Is it more like bratwurst? What exactly is that? Jessie. Come here. You want to say hi? Shotzi likes to sneak into the kitchen because he's the only one who can fit under the gate. And then the other dogs have a fit. All right, go on. Schmeck. Go on, Stinker. Go. Go on. Out. So Mr. Smith has been getting upset at the ducks lately because we have an off-balance crew out there in the front duck garden. We've got 2 males and 1 female. And I don't know. We may end up having to take the female out of there. Hot. Okay, Mr. Smith just got home. Dogs are going to go crazy. I apologize for this. I used to live in the Mennonite community. It's a pan sausage. I hated it. Tried to get the recipe, so I never actually made it by accident. No one would give it to me because that's why I wanted it. All right, that's funny. I can't say I've ever heard of Schmeckfest sausage. And now you've got me curious. Now I might have to look it up and see if I can figure it out. That's funny. I'm wondering what it, I don't know. I would ask what did it taste like, but obviously it didn't taste very good. So yeah, we may end up having to take that female duck out and maybe let her live with the other two. And then hopefully we could train her to go into the coop like the other ones do, so that she's not out and exposed at night. Because the two little ducks from the neighbors are still here, and they've pretty much settled in, and they put themselves up in the chicken sled at night with the chickens. And it's kind of funny because all the other ducks we've had have been super skittish about us, but they will come right up to us. Like when I'm out there tossing treats for the chickens, the ducks come running too. So that's kind of neat. But now we got to think of some names for them, since they're apparently going to be staying. The little white duck is I think it's a white crested duck, and it's got a little pom-pom on the back of its head, just like Edith does on top of her head. So we'll have to think of something cute to call that one. Of course, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl, at least not yet. I have no idea. I have no idea what that could be. Hey, honey, have you ever heard of Schmeckfist sausage? No, he's not heard of it either. He just got home from the grocery store. Went to pick up a few things. Ava's running around like crazy. When do you get your first frost? Usually in October. I don't remember the exact date. I need to look that up.
She's more likely to get our first heat stroke.
I don't know if you heard that. He said more likely to get our first heat stroke because summer is lingering here. It is unusually hot. Normally we're like in the low 80s at this point, but we're still in the mid 90s. So usually we get our first frost sometime in October. I want to say it's like the third week. I'm not positive. I need to look that up to see exactly when. But yeah, who knows? You know, and those can always be flexible. Low 70 here on Monday. I wish. I wish. It was like that when I was up at my parents' up there visiting. It was beautiful. It was like in the 50s in the morning, low 70s during the day. It was gorgeous.
It's supposed to be 98.
Yeah.
Day 100.
Mondays, it's both tomorrow, it's supposed to be 98 degrees here, and on Tuesday, it's supposed to be 100 degrees. Yeah. But the Farmer's Almanac is saying we're supposed, well, how did they word it? Do you remember?
Polar winter.
A polar winter.
No,
Yeah, that don't sound right.
polar coaster.
A polar coaster. Yes, that was it. Polar coaster. So the Farmer's Almanac is saying we're going to have a polar coaster winter. Now what that means exactly, I don't know, other than I've heard we're supposed to get a lot of really serious cold. So that should be interesting. We haven't had a really cold winter in a while, it doesn't seem like. I think we're due. We're definitely due to get some snow, real snow. The first year we lived here in Alabama, after moving down from Alaska, we had like 8 inches dumped on the area. It was fantastic. We loved it. We kind of joked that Alabama did it just to make us feel at home. But we haven't seen any real snow in a couple of years. We did have another one a couple of years after that, but we've just gotten little dustings here and there the last few years. So I think we're due a real winter. Yeah, you guys get real winters up there, Di. We don't get real winters down here. When we were talking about retiring from the military, I wanted to be someplace with a real 4-season, climate.
Sweetheart.
We don't have that.
Next Monday and Tuesday, not this coming.
Oh, next Monday and Tuesday.
Next Monday.
Okay. So not tomorrow and Tuesday, the high temperatures. The following week.
Yep.
Gotcha. Well, that's likely, hopefully, to change between now and then.
I gotta find cats.
Okay.
And
Yes. Off Kilter Homestead wants some snow down there in Florida. What I remember do you remember the big blizzard of 93? Wasn't it? Yeah, 93. There was a huge blizzard. I mean, how many people remember that? Where it was snow everywhere. Like the South was even just swallowed up in snow. That was a lot of snow. And I think Florida got it then too, because I think everything got it then. Yeah, that would be nice. It would be nice. It would be really nice to have at least a cold enough snap that lasted long enough to really kill the bugs. Because this past winter, I mean, it got cold really quick, so we thought it was going to be a really cold winter, and it didn't. It was like our winter was November, and then it just like hardly did anything after that. And so the pests in the garden this year were just terrible. It's like we didn't have the winter to kill them off, and so everything was really bad, really quick this year. So it would be nice to at least have that stuff taken care of, so it wouldn't be so bad next year. Didn't get a blizzard, but 92, we had a devastating ice storm in Indiana. 90. Okay. Yeah, 92. Okay. Trying to remember. I know there was a really bad ice storm in, was it 2002? 2002, somewhere around there. I remember there being a really bad ice storm then too. We had trees like coming down everywhere, and I was just laying in bed at night, and you could just hear the crashing, and you could feel the house shaking from these massive limbs hitting the ground. Everything was coated in ice, and there was just broken trees and lines down, and it was crazy. Oh yeah, Carolyn remembers that one. They had snow in central Louisiana. That was a doozy. So Jennifer had just been born. She was just a few months old. I think that was like March of 93, that blizzard that I was talking about. And we had planned on going to visit my parents because my mom was there when Jennifer was born, but my dad had not yet met Jennifer, his first grandchild. And so we had a road trip planned to go see them. And crazy us, we got on the road the day after that blizzard hit, and we drove all the way from Virginia to Wisconsin. And there was like nobody on the roads except some 18-wheelers. that was it. We were crazy and we did it, but yeah, I'll never forget. We probably shouldn't have, but we did. As you can see, it turned out all right, but probably not the wisest thing that we did. Okay, good. Do you have any problems with fire ants? We have them a lot here in the Piedmont area of North Carolina. Yes, Peggy, we definitely have fire ants here. That is one of the reasons I don't go barefoot out here on the property. I mean, even before we let the chickens run loose, because now I wouldn't do it just because, you know, that's kind of gross. I'm just saying. But I loved being able to walk barefoot in like clover and it's just wonderful. But I don't do that here because we do have fire ants, and not just fire ants, but we've got those cow killer ants, which are actually a type of ground dwelling wasp. And they're also called red velvet ants, and their sting is like way worse than a wasp. And we have those here, and if you step on one of those, that's just awful. And Jack stepped on one the first year that we lived here, and so I definitely don't go barefoot. And the fire ants do try to take over the raised beds, especially when there's been a lot of rain. But I have a blend that I use. It's got orange oil, and I can't remember what all it's called. I have a video about it. And it's the mixture that I use, and it's safe for organic gardens. And I use that on like my raised beds and around my fruit trees and any place that I need to get rid of the fire ants. And I don't like to use pesticides. And this stuff actually works. Like, I was very skeptical when I tried it. I had a raised bed that had just been taken over by fire ants, and I went out the next day and they were gone. It was fantastic. Hello, Julia. You know, Di, I have not tried it on anything else other than the fire ants. I don't know if it would work on squash bugs. Good question. I'm not sure. The dogs were wrestling in the living room. I had to stop that. Yeah, squash bugs, handling the squash bugs, I just generally would go out there and hand pick them and throw them in a jar of water. And then I used the duct tape trick for taking the eggs off of the leaves. Yeah, I don't know of any kind of sprays that for sure work for squash bugs. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some out there, but I haven't tried any. Yeah, I might give that a try next year, Di, when the squash bugs are back out again. Because I don't know. My understanding is that the orange oil will actually kind of dissolve their exoskeleton, and that's what kills them. So I don't know. We'll have to give it a try. I need to make a mental note of that. Yeah, vinegar will kill the freshly hatched ones. The problem with vinegar, though, is that you could also kill your plants because vinegar is so acidic. I mean, you can use that like a weed killer. So I would be very careful about using vinegar anywhere near your garden. Hi, baby. Oh, spraying the wood on the raised beds to see if it would deter them. That's a possibility. I mean, it's always, you know, as long as it's not going into the soil where your garden plants are, you know, I don't think it would hurt it on the outside, certainly.
Shadi, go lay down. Go on.
Alrighty, well, it is 6:55 my time, so I think we will go ahead and wrap up this video for this week. It's been a couple weeks since I've done this, and I missed doing them. I wanted to do one last week, but then, you know, Jennifer was here, and I didn't want to take any time away from visiting with her. So just a reminder, if you weren't here at the very beginning of this this live's chat. Next week, I'm going to be traveling, so there will not be a live stream next week. There will be one the week after, and then the week after that, I will be traveling once again. That will be for the Homesteaders of America conference, and so I will be on my way home that day. So I doubt very much that I will be home in time to do the live chat, because it's a good long drive from here. Oh yes, nasturtium does help deter squash bugs. It's one of those companion plants. That's a great one to plant. So that is it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. You guys all have a wonderful week. Have a great week. Thank you, Peggy. Safe travels on my trip. This one's not a long ways away, but it's something I'm excited about. So you'll have to watch. You'll be able to see it on my Instagram and stuff before you see it in my video. So you'll have to watch my Instagram. Oh, Nikki did the trick that I did with Willie by humiliating her rooster, and it worked. Awesome. Now you may have to do that again, Nikki, because after a while they start getting brave again, and you've got to keep on it and put them back in their place. But as long as it keeps working, you know, then awesome. But if it doesn't work, well, then it's freezer camp time, if you ask me. I won't have an aggressive rooster, especially not a full-size rooster. I'm not going to be terrorized on my own farm, you know what I mean? So, all right, you guys, thanks for joining me tonight, and I will see you again the week after next for the next live chat, and there will be a new video up tomorrow morning, as usual. So have a great week, everybody.